These are the best online retailers to source from for online arbitrage with Amazon FBA. Sourcing products is one of the most crucial parts of this business model. You know, the quality of your deals is going to directly affect what you make. And in order to find those good product leads that are high ROI, fast selling products, you really need to have a reliable list of retailers that you can manually source from. But the problem is, you know, if you're simply sourcing from obvious places like Argos or Smith's, then sure, you might find a few good deals from time to time, but so will everyone else. I made £45,000 last month just from online arbitrage, and in this video I'm going to be revealing a few of the online retailers that I bought products from. So let's get into it. So now I'm going to run through all the different Amazon categories, or at least all the ones that are actually good to sell in as an online arbitrage seller, and give you guys a few sites that I've sourced from previously in those categories. For each of these retailers as well, as I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight. If there's any of these retailers where I know something that's not completely common knowledge, I'll be dropping that in the video as well to give you guys just that little bit more value. So let's start off with electronics and computers. So if you know me, you know this is a big category for me and something that I do sell a lot of, and these are just a handful of the sites that I bought from last month. So eBuyer, absolutely brilliant place to look at, same as CCL Online. CCL Online in particular, I found some really good deals lately, particularly for like monitors, like computer monitors. They have some amazing deals sometimes. Overclockers is another really good place to look. They build PCs, but they also actually sell the computer parts, and a lot of these computer parts are really cheap compared to what they would usually be on Amazon. And now onto home, garden and DIY. So B&Q, Homebase, Toolstation, these are all some really big names in this category and some sites that you should definitely be looking out for. Homebase in particular has been going through some financial troubles as of recently. I believe they were looking to possibly liquidate the company, but now have been bought out by another company that, if I remember correctly, owns two other fairly big name high street retailers. Now I found that Homebase, I don't know if it's to the case that they're clearing stock because of the whole financial issues that they've had, or, you know, I don't know exactly the reason behind some of these prices, but I've seen ridiculously low prices, particularly on categories like power tools on their website. Literally just last week, I cleared about 70 leaf blowers from them. Admittedly, the order did get cancelled, which was a pain. I think it was just a full-blown price error, not even like a clearance deal. But they had loads of deals on that tool brand in general, and there were a load of other products that were also profitable and didn't get cancelled. So if you pick those up at the right time, you'll know what I'm talking about, and those were amazing deals. B&Q as well always has great deals, often on collection as well, which kind of gives you a bit of a competitive edge. Like maybe only your local store has that particular item in stock, and that just means that you can pick up stuff that other Amazon sellers aren't really going to be able to access. And Toolstation as well, good, reliable, currently not going through liquidation as far as I know, but they are a brilliant retailer to be looking at. And yeah, if you've not looked on Toolstation yet, go have a look. Head to the sales section, there might be something good for you. And then we've got health and beauty. So this is a huge category with Amazon, particularly for online arbitrage sellers. And we've got a few online only retailers there. So I've excluded the ones like Superdrug and Boots that are kind of more well known as like high street retailers, though definitely do take a look at those online stores because, you know, they are good. The Beauty Bay, All Beauty, Look Fantastic, and Notino are all kind of the places to go for beauty deals with Amazon. I mean, Notino in general, like there are so many deals on Notino, it's actually ridiculous. It's almost become a problem because of too many people looking on Notino for these deals. But the other few are fairly unknown. You know, Look Fantastic is one of the bigger names, but Beauty Bay and All Beauty are brilliant places to be looking for those beauty deals. And a lot of them offer cashback and promos on a regular basis, so it's definitely something where you should subscribe to the mailing list for these sites and keep in the loop as for any promotions and deals that they're running at the moment. And then we've got sports and outdoors. So this is a huge category, especially this time of year where, you know, it's getting hotter in the UK, and, you know, people are doing more sports, more outdoor stuff, and so obviously this category is booming right now. So yeah, we've got Wiggles, so they do like cycling parts and stuff like that. Sports Direct, so weirdly I've found since Sports Direct were taken over by some other company lately, I believe they own HMV and some other stores as well. I can't remember the exact list off the top of my head, but Sports Direct do sell a lot of sports goods, but they also seem to sell a lot of other completely random stuff that these other retailers used to stock. And since they're now owned by like one big parent company, they kind of list all of the same products on all of the different sites, which I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but you know, head to Sports Direct, you will find some sports goods as well as just deals on completely random stuff like headphones and toys that you might not expect them to sell, but they do now sell it. And I have found that Sports Direct and the other stores that are owned by that parent company that owns Sports Direct, they also do have some really good deals when items are on offer. I believe there was some sort of financial trouble behind, I don't know if it was the parent company of Sports Direct or one of their subsidiaries, but something along those lines, where they were clearing a lot of stock through Studio, which some of you guys may be familiar with. It was something that we pinged in Live Cops and in the mentorship group quite a while back when they were just having crazy clearance deals a few months ago. And those kind of group of companies are definitely well worth paying attention to, because they do often sell stuff stupidly cheap. I mean, it's a bit of a running theme so far in this video that I've been talking about various high street stores that are very well-known names but somehow just aren't actually making a profit. And honestly, the fact that I can buy stuff from these stores and sell it to Amazon, and there's such a big gap in the kind of prices between these two sites that there is enough money for me to ship it to Amazon, pay warehouse fees, pay my VAT, pay Amazon fees, do all these other things and still make a good profit. It really goes to show how terrible some of these retailers are in terms of kind of pricing their items accurately. Like, to me, there's no reason why these people shouldn't be making loads of money with how well known their stores are and, you know, the supplier relationships that they have. They just clearly are selling stuff too cheap, but you know, we can take advantage of that and we can make some profit, so I'm not totally hating on them for that. Then you've also got Decathlon, which is, again, I think they actually also are going through financial difficulty at the moment. Probably shouldn't giggle at that, but I was in a Decathlon store a few months back it's part of like the Tesco's near my house, and they were closing down the store. I believe they're shifting to more of an online only business model, but yeah, might be worth even heading in store, seeing if there's any local clearance deals at your kind of local Decathlon. I know at my one, they were marking down loads and loads of stock in store that only was like store specific deals because they wanted the stock gone from that branch. I mean, for a lot of these retailers, it's usually easier to just sell stuff at a loss than it is to kind of get a big truck and take it to a new location, if there is any new location. So go check out Decathlon, and Go Outdoors is another really good one. I've not heard anything about them shutting down anytime soon, but yeah, go check out their website. Lots of good deals on there. Then we've got toys, children and babies. So toys is a huge category for arbitrage sellers, and these three stores are gold mines when it comes to cheap products. You know, they're not super well known, you know, the Entertainer definitely being probably the biggest of these three. Hamleys has been around for quite a while, but I did watch a documentary the other day saying that they were losing money at some crazy rate, and again, it's because they're pricing their products just too cheap. You know, they should be selling these products for so much more. So we're just putting in the hard work, taking these products and selling them for more on Amazon. And Bargain Max, not exactly a household name, but this store has some killer deals, definitely worth checking out. We've also got pet supplies. So these are my kind of big three for pet supplies. So Pets at Home, amazing. Definitely get Cooper or Honey, and you should be able to go on Pets at Home, and often you'll get staff coupon codes popping up. Now, they are aware of this happening and they do try and cancel orders, but if you want some tips, make an order about 6-7 p.m, like around the last dispatch date for that day, and then get next day delivery on top of that as well. Even if it costs extra, just do it, because you know, that way you get your order next day. Hopefully it'll be dispatched about, you know, half an hour after you place your order. If you're placing it about 7 p.m, if you send it by next day, hopefully it will be dispatched before anyone human checking the order clocks on that you've actually used a staff discount code to get that order. And maybe you've made, say, 10, 20 different orders with that same coupon code to varying addresses, prep centers, stuff like that. You can get a huge amount of stock at prices that are basically just impossible to buy from usually. You know, even if you contacted that brand directly, they probably wouldn't give you a price that good. So yeah, check out Pets at Home, and especially make use of the coupons offered through Honey and Cooper, because it's a gold mine. Pet Drugs Online is another really good one. They do like flea medication and stuff from my experience, though they do also sell other stuff. But just be careful what you're buying from there, because there are some brands that they sell that have recently been kind of clamping down on Amazon sellers and kicking them off listings. So just double check everything that you're looking at on that site just to make sure you actually are allowed to sell it. Then for like films, TV, music, video games, all of that good stuff, here are a few good retailers for that. So we've got HMV. So as I mentioned earlier, these are owned by the same kind of big parent company that owns Sports Direct and a bunch of other retailers. Then we've also got base.com and the game collection. The game collection is probably my favorite of these three, just because it's just not so well known as like HMV's like a high street name. Base.com, not so much, but the game collection is pretty niche and they have some banging deals at times. Generally, I'd be cautious of video games. I mean, at least from my limited experience selling them, you do often get prices that just seem to kind of just keep going down. You know, you think you found a good deal, you bought a game at £10, it's £30 on Amazon. Following week, Amazon's at £10. Like, it's a bit of a pain. But DVDs and music, I think, are a really slept on category within Amazon FBA. I very rarely see anyone selling like vinyl records or music like CDs and DVDs, but people do actually still buy a lot of this stuff on Amazon. In fact, I'd say that a fair chunk of online sales for those goods mainly all go through Amazon, so definitely worth looking at. And then we've got books. So I've actually got a video coming up very soon with a bit more detail on books, so definitely make sure to smash that subscribe button if you're interested in that, because I've been selling a lot of books lately, and these are a few suppliers that I've been looking at. So we've got Waterstones, you know, fairly big one, but then we've also got like Hive, which is as far as I understand, they like connect smaller bookstores to like their main website, so you can kind of find these smaller bookstores more easily. And that's really great because you can often get clearance deals from some of these smaller stores on books that might sell really well online, but you know, maybe they've just been sitting in that one independent bookstore in the local branch in some small town in England, and no one's been interested in that particular book, at least from their store. So as far as they're concerned, it's a loss. They just got to get rid of it. But if you then sell that book on Amazon, which they are probably completely unsure of how to even do, you can capture a lot of profit. And then we've got Blackwells and Foils as well. Both great places to look for books. Again, focus on the clearance options, you know, focus on the stuff that's marked down to 10% of retail price, and that's where you'll find the most profit. And then we've got car and motorbikes. So yeah, I've only actually got one supplier for this category. It's just not something I sell that much of, but Halfords is amazing for this category. Somewhere I buy from quite often. They've also got some like Halfords club thing that you like get membership to, and you get like discounts on orders and free delivery and stuff like that, which has come in clutch a few times to make stuff just that little bit cheaper to make it worthwhile. And then we've got business, industry and science, so a category that I'm always quite interested in because I'm passionate about, you know, business and science and stuff. But yeah, they've got a lot of good tech products from these suppliers. So we've got RS Components, a very unknown supplier, shall I say. I've never really heard anyone talking about this store on like Discord, Twitter, stuff like that. So definitely go check them out. CPC, Farnell and the Pie Hut, slightly more well-known ones, but huge range of products. I mean, CPC have like the most extensive product list I think I've ever seen on the website. They've got thousands and thousands and thousands of products. And obviously, out of those kind of that huge haystack of products, if you can find those needles that are worth, you know, their weight in gold, definitely, you know, you can find a huge amount of profit from these sites is what I'm trying to say to you guys. Last month, I spent a very big chunk of money with CPC Farnell on just a couple different product lines. So if you can find those kind of things that I'm looking at, you will have great success. And then we've got clothes, shoes and watches. Yeah, it's not something that I sell a lot of, to be honest. I've always avoided clothes and shoes because the returns are a lot to deal with. Now, I'm not saying you cannot make money in clothes and shoes. I know people that have made money in these, but you just have to have a particular process for handling returns, and it just doesn't align with the other stuff that I sell right now. So something that I've personally avoided, but watches are always really good, and the watch shop in particular from this list is a place that I have bought from a lot recently. I find the best sellers on Amazon are usually smartwatches, you know, especially like Garmin smartwatches and just other things that kind of track fitness and activity and stuff. Definitely well worth looking into for those particular products. And again, hit the clearance sections on these sites and you're probably going to find something. And finally, we've got food and grocery. So for this, honestly, my best recommendation is just hit up your local supermarket. I mean, whether that's online orders or just placing it through their website, these stores have some amazing deals on food and grocery. I mean, it's to be expected, right? I mean, these supermarkets are well known for operating on extremely thin margins. You know, they're only adding a couple percentage on top to kind of get their profit. So a lot of these items are extremely close to the price that they get them from suppliers. And if they're then doing, say, 50% off on some of these products, assuming it's not just like a promotion, assuming it's actually like a clearance deal for an item that they're having a hard time shifting, you know, maybe they ordered too much or something along those lines, you can get some really crazy deals on stuff from these stores. I mean, I've ordered so much from some of these stores that Ocado, I'm actually banned from Ocado on like 3 separate addresses where I've ordered like so much toothpaste, like 100 bottles of toothpaste, and they have delivered it. and then I've just not been able to place any more orders. You know, it's hard to get in orders with some of these places, but it's well worth looking for. And if you just put in that little bit extra effort to kind of, you know, find a new address, use a new card, use a new email or something like that, you can have really good success from these stores. Particularly for Ocado, because I've got a little bit more kind of experience ordering from that site, they do some really good offers for like first time users. So if you can kind of switch up all your details, make a new account, make use of some of these coupon codes, you can get massive discounts on regular priced items. And if you think about it, if these supermarkets are only adding a couple percentage points to a lot of these items cost-wise, if you can then get 20% off as a brand new customer, that's gonna basically get you items that are way cheaper than any other retailer can possibly get them at, you know, cheaper than they probably are from the suppliers. And I do think the best online arbitrage deals, those maybe a little bit mean to say, the best online arbitrage deals do always come from getting another business to take a loss on your behalf. If you can convince Ocado to give you 20% off your shopping and essentially give you like 20 or 30 pounds towards your order as like a promotional credit, that is going to be amazing for you. Because, you know, realistically, a lot of the stores are willing to lose money on deals like that to get new customers. So if you can kind of take advantage of that, be a little bit cheeky, lots of money to be made. So these are the best online retailers to source products from for Amazon FBA in 2025. Now, as I've highlighted through this video, I've had plenty of success selling products across all of these categories over the past 12 months. And now you can take these retailers and find products that are worth buying and hopefully start seeing a bit of success for your Amazon FBA business. That being said, even though some of these stores are a lot less saturated than more of the, you know, the mainstream sites, this is still YouTube, right? Anyone can watch this video and everyone who is watching it will know how to source from these sites. There are hundreds of retailers out there that I source products from that you probably have never even heard of. But unfortunately, you know, I need to keep these just for my mentorship students. So on that note, I offer a 6-month-long Amazon FBA mentorship program, which includes 12 hours of one-to-one calls, regular group coaching sessions, 10 hours of video lessons, and so much more. Just like a list of 100+ different retailers that I've sourced from previously, taken directly from my own deal sheet. So you can click the link in the video description down below to learn more and book in a free consultation call with me where we can talk about your Amazon business, your kind of current situation, and whether or not you would be a good fit for the program. So finally, make sure you've liked this video and subscribe if you took any sort of value from this video. And you can click up here to watch my video on how I go about finding new retailers to source from for Amazon.